Why is it taking so long to go live? Now we're live. We are live, and it is game day. New York Giants game day. Giants at the Dallas Cowboys, 4:30. America's game of the week.
Yeah.
Troy Aikman and Joe Buck. And I've kind of stayed away from the Troy Aikman quote, because it's like, okay, whatever. But you know what? Yeah, now I'm kind of feeling like, I hope we win today. One, because I want to win, but I want to tweet at Troy Aikman incessantly. I'm like, how about you? How you like that class, homie?
I think I.
Uh-oh. Are we messing up again? Is Justin frozen for everybody else?
What happened?
Now you're back. What happened?
Oh, I have no clue. I thought I have no clue what happened. Did you hear what I said?
No. You said
Okay.
I have a, and then you went. Didn't you? So everyone else said you frozen up too.
I had a dream that Troy Aikman retweeted Snacks because I think Snacks tweeted at Troy Aikman early in the week, but I don't think that was in reality. I think it was a dream. I hope it actually happens because it's a cold take after this weekend. I'm actually also glad that quote, it seems like it made its way around the locker room. Yeah. I'm glad when it's like a coach says we're gonna stick our head down and we're gonna work, but then I love when the players can all get together and be like, look at this fucking clown. Like, let's go out there and kick some ass. And that's what I want to happen today.
So I put up Better Viewed on YouTube on the Twitter thing,
sure,
and I forgot to put the link, so I'm commenting. The link. Really screwed that one up. Or maybe they took away the link, because I feel like I did put the link in there. I don't know. Maybe Twitter. Let me do it from there. Yeah, but I want to whip Troy Aikman's ass. I want him, like, why would he say that before calling this game? Like, even if it's true, it's such a weird, like, you're calling this game this week. Why would you say that this week?
Yeah, that is strange because I call some high school games. So if I said like before the show, yeah, I think St. Peter's Prep is in a much different class than Seton Hall. If I said that, I'd be like, yeah, well, that's not right of you to say. I could care less. Honestly, I'm kind of glad that they're calling the game because no matter how you feel about announcers, I mean, what announcers besides Peyton Manning and Eli Manning, and they don't even commentate on the game like they're supposed to, or like you typically do. But because I think the way that Eli, Peyton Manning do it, that's like the way of the future. But neither here nor there. What commentators do people actually like? I'm glad that it's Buck and Aikman this game because every single game when I was growing up, and then probably, when you were in your teens, Bobby, that just shows how old you are. When I was growing up, when you were like in your teens, every single game was Buck and Aikman, Buck and Aikman, Buck and Aikman, because the Giants, they just followed the Giants, which was awesome. So I'm glad that this is like kind of like a throwback because we would have these randos every single week, and this makes me feel like we're somewhat relevant again.
I missed the 3-man booth. It was Buck, Aikman, and Chris Collinsworth.
Or Goose. I was too young for that, but Goose was on the field.
Yeah, he was on the field, but there used to be 3-man booths. Like, and I think it was better that way. I think it might have to do with like maybe these people not wanting to pay another salary for a product where people are going to watch regardless.
3 is tough. 3 is tough.
Iron Eagle is good. I like Iron Eagle and Charles Davis.
Yeah, Iron Eagle's good. Yeah.
You know who I liked? It was now both of these guys are gone. It was what was the guy who went and worked with the Lions last offseason? Former linebacker, and he actually did it with. It's a 4-0 ball game. Castellanos, Tom Brenneman.
Oh,
and I forget who it was with. Thom Brenneman, and it's spelled Thom Brenneman like an idiot.
Oh.
And NFL on Fox. Who did he call it with? I can't remember his, but he used to call a bunch of Giants games.
Oh.
And I like Chris Spielman. There you go. Thank you, Big Blue in the Bronx. I like those guys doing. So today we have no Sterling Shepard and no Darius Slayton.
And no Jabril
Peppers. Which is not good. But here's what I am going to say, is that I am happy that versus Dallas, where Jason Garrett wants to call his better games. Like, I'm not even mad at him for that. Like, you should – it's more personal this game than others. Like, that's human nature. So I'm not going to be mad at him for maybe doing a little better versus Dallas. He is being forced to play in an offense that wasn't originally this offense, the first 19 games. Kenny Golladay and Kadarius Toney as your primary options. You have to, and he did versus New Orleans or John Ross. Like I am very excited to see if we can get 2 good games in a row out of Jason Garrett, which we never have. We have never gotten like 2. Okay, wow, this is a really good game in a row by Jason Garrett.
That's why I'm no longer being sold on 1 game sample sizes anymore, like I was after Washington. Yeah, I said that on my 5 keys video, where it's like, well, you never would want Slayton and Shepard you would never want to root for them to be out of a game, say, yes, this is maybe a good thing, but it's a good thing that Kadarius Toney is going to be, not force-fed the ball, but given opportunities with the ball in his hands where maybe he can do something, make something out of nothing. We haven't had guys that can do that. Even Slayton and Shepard, they are solid, good wide receivers. Shepard is definitely better, where he's just a possession guy and he plays a certain role. But Darius Slayton, no matter how fast he has been and he can be in open space, he hasn't been able to create that separation, create that open space. So getting Kadarius Toney the ball in his hands, that is definitely a priority this game. Man coverage. So if Toney's one-on-one with somebody and maybe nobody's draping over the top, he can break a tackle, and then it's a big game.
And I tweeted this last Sunday morning, and I was like, you don't need to force feed Kadarius Toney to involve him in the game plan, but I fear the coaching staff doesn't view it like that. Because what we had seen so far was basically like, all right, here is your time to touch the football, Kadarius Toney, which I still want those, those plays in there. But use him as a wide receiver. He is a wide receiver, and that's what they did last week. They use him on digs, slants, RPOs, and then when you want to do a screen or a jet sweep or a triple option or a reverse pass, you can do those things too. But don't make that his identity as an NFL player. Let him play wide receiver. Like, he knows how to play wide receiver. Is he running the same routes and as good as timing as Sterling Shepard? No, but you don't need to have that. And something we talked about was like, I hate when people will say, well, this guy would look great in this offense. Well, it's like, why not use him like that offense would use him? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not saying we're going to have the same production as the Chiefs, but why not use Kadarius Toney the way a Chiefs offense would use Kadarius Toney, where you don't need perfect timing? And that is the hope for Kadarius Toney. So I think he's going to have a big day. I talked about him with my Giant fact. I mean, he was basically like the focus of my portion of the preview show was like beginning fantasy segment and Giant factors. Like, Kadarius Toney, I think, is going to have a big game against the team that gives up the most yak in the NFL.
And I would absolutely love if we continued what we did last week with utilizing different looks of 11 personnel, 12 personnel. The Saquon Barkley touchdown, the receiving touchdown that he had, that was 12 personnel, which is typically a running formation where everybody was flanked out wide, including Rudolph and Engram. They were the 2 kind of targets and guys that were flanked out that were closest to the tackles. Then he had Toney or Ross and Galladay, or Toney and Galladay on the other side, and then Saquon Barkley on the left side. I would love, because now that we only have 3 wide receivers that we somewhat feel confident throwing the ball to. Colin Johnson's in there too, CJ Board, but the 3 main wide receivers are Toney, Ross, and Galladay.
Board might be out this week.
Board might be out, and that's why they're talking about Toney might be returning punts and kicks, which that's something that a lot of people have wanted. However, I mean, if they're going to be using Toney as a wide receiver, I don't know if I want him returning kicks and punts, but still, it's exciting nevertheless. I mean, how many kicks and punts are you realistically taking in today's NFL, especially kicks? Because half the time it's just a touchback anyway. But my whole point of now that 2 wide receivers that you rely on are out, Slayton and Shepard, so using 12 personnel probably around 30% of the time, like they did last week, is going to be something that happens again. And you can mix up those looks within 12 personnel, which makes me excited.
Yeah, it's it could be a big day for the offense. Let's talk about Victor Perez, Evan Ingram would be great in Kansas City system. Thank you. I don't know. Actually, I don't think he would. I think he'd be better. I don't think he'd be great in anyone's system.
No.
Should we be worried about Andrew Thomas's foot? Yeah, I'm worried about it. He's expected to play today, but if he looks bad to start, pull him. Throw Matt Parrott in there. Which I low-key would be excited about, because maybe that will force their hand to start Matt Parrott over Nate Solder. But obviously, I'm not excited about that, because I want Andrew Thomas to be full go, and he's like, I think he's the second most important player on making this offense go right now, because he's been put on an island and done really well. But yeah, I'm concerned about it. It's not what he was dealing with last year. Like, he was limping, and it is like it's a real injury that it's not every player's banged up this time of year type of thing. Like he's injured.
Did we get confirmation on when the injury occurred? Because I know it occurred during the game. When during the game? Because if it occurred in the second quarter and he had another good half of good football with that injury, then it makes the ease a little bit. But if it was in overtime, which he sustained the injury, then that's a different story.
Yeah, adrenaline, like it is kind of crazy how, like adrenaline can take over. Like how bad Daniel Jones' ankle was injured in 2019, and you watch the rest of that game, and it's like you had a sprained ankle. Like how did you do this?
Yeah,
and it's like even like I've sprained my ankle before. It's like you could feel some pain, and then like 30 minutes later, it's like, oh my god, I can't walk.
Yep.
Where I could have been running before it like fully kicked in. So, yeah, I guess the kind of hope, like you said, is that it happened earlier in the game, and it's something he can manage. But I don't think they're going to throw him out there if it's not something that's totally manageable. Although they did put Daniel Jones out there with 2 bad legs in a game, so that's my worry, is that they're doing that again. But if he looks bad to start, like pull him, like there's more to this season. There's more to this guy's career than this one game.
Yep, I agree.
Could you imagine Nate Solder and Matt Peart playing in a game together?
Yeah, and I was just about to say the Giants kind of, made their bed with their tackle with their depth tackle situation. They made their bed. They put all their eggs in the bed. Really, with this entire old line. Now, obviously, they've had injuries, and 3 injuries, 2 to starters, and then 1 to a depth guy, which they got and they believed in, and we were excited about in Bredesen. But they made their bed with this tackle situation. Now they're going to lie in it if Andrew Thomas isn't right.
I wish they would have addressed right tackle in the offseason. But that doesn't really have a ton to do with Andrew Thomas. John Ross kick returns.
Oh,
it's not going to happen. It's just not. He's never played a special team snap in his career.
What do you mean? He was number 1 on the depth chart in during the summer, and now if Board is out and Peppers is out, he kind of should. Like that makes more sense than Tony, because Ross was number 1 over the summer on the depth chart.
But Tony wasn't really practicing at that point either.
Yeah, that's true.
And Tony would be a better returner than John Ross, I think.
Ross is faster.
Yeah, but Kadarius Toney is still really fast and makes guys miss a million times better. Let's see. And then and that's the other thing is like Andrew Thomas being trusted on an island was a beautiful thing, because it is unreal how much they are like Kyle Rudolph. It looks like he was signed to, like, him and Nate Solder can split the right tackle duties.
Yeah.
They're giving Nate Solder help on so many plays, and you know what? That's good coaching. It's bad roster management having Nate Solder as your starting right tackle, but that is good coaching to be like, hey, we're not going to let this guy beat us. We're not going to let our weak right tackle ruin our game.
The John Ross 50-something yard touchdown last week, Kyle Rudolph was being used as a pass blocker on the right side. So
yeah, like they've done it a ton in those 7-8 man protections. And I saw someone tweet out a stat about it. I think it was Nate Tice, where it was like they had the stats with Daniel Jones on those, and it was just insane. Maybe I can try and find it, but it's like those plays are really working. Now my worry is that they try and do those plays today against man coverage with like safeties helping underneath, and that's what kind of can ruin those plays, or you get thrown like if Dallas would be stupid to not have something cooked up for, like, all right, every time they're in 2 tight ends to one side, be ready for this under center play action, deep crossers. But now you can run all types of different routes. I found it. They ran 28 play action passes with 6 or 7 man protections through 4 games. Jones is 18 of 24 for 275 yards and 11.5 yards per attempt.
It's good.
So that's some real deal stuff.
It's very good. Very, very good. I mean, that's the way that you beat man coverage, though. Play action and crossing routes. I mean, that's the way that you beat it. So in a way, isn't that like the perfect?
But when there's only 2 routes being run, there's a lot more guys you can put in coverage, and you have guys in man. There's no holes to find it. Like a lot of that times is like Jones. It's very timing wise. It's like, all right, he's going to break open. I got to throw with anticipation and get it in this hole in the zone. But when you put in man coverage, there's no holes. There's just like there's guys that are covered, and it's like, okay, well, how much do they beat man coverage? But then also when it's a max protect, the two safeties who are playing either high or low or you're blitzing or whatever, like they can go and you can essentially turn both of those routes into double coverage.
Roger.
So there's definitely ways to beat it. If I was Dallas' defensive coordinator, I would be like, all right, every time they go into 2 tight end sets, we're playing man coverage, and we are putting both our safeties doubling whoever the receivers are on these plays. Let's see. KG versus Diggs. I don't think this is going to be a great Kenny Golladay day. Maybe you could prove me wrong, but I feel like because they play man coverage and we'll put a safety over the top, that's going to give opportunities for everyone. I see this as a Kadarius Toney, Saquon Barkley day. Like they give up a ton of yak, they stunt it a lot, which can open up big plays. So I see the big plays coming from those two. Although no, not to say that Golladay can't have a big game too. I would expect more of a big game out of Toney and Saquon.
Yeah, this is just the fan in me taking out all kind of like analysis into it. Galladay's been on a roll lately. I would love for this to be the first game where he has 10 catches. Now, he had 100 yards last week. He had over 100 yards receiving. But I want this to be the first game where he has 10 catches, and he kind of, he has like that Plaxico takeover moment against a solid corner. I would love that.
How about through 4 games, Daniel Jones is balling, and none of the new additions have touchdowns? Yeah. Golladay, no touchdowns. Toney, no touchdowns. Kyle Rudolph, no touchdowns.
Let's not act like Daniel Jones is also throwing a lot of touchdowns and they're just not going to the new additions. We're still not scoring a lot of, but no, we're still not scoring a lot of points, which is the ultimate, like, I called it the black cloud that's currently hanging over this Giants offense and Daniel Jones' season is that, he's performing really well, but still they're not scoring points at an above average rate. They're doing everything else at an above average rate. So.
I want a Kenny Golladay touchdown so freaking bad. Like, it's going to feel so good when it happens. Or Toney. But how about both in one game? Like, let me celebrate that way. We got another Thomas question, which reminded me. Who would you rather play left tackle, Matt Peart or Nate Solder?
Matt Peart.
Me too.
Yeah.
But then do you put help over to the left side and kind of leave Solder alone on the right?
I don't know. I would give help, I guess, to Peart more. It depends on who he's facing too. If Solder's going to face a guy that's going to try and run around the outside again, and then Jones can just step up in front of that, great. But if Parsons is lining up in the edge, which I don't think he will a ton, but if you have a guy like Parsons who just likes to bull rush you and get in your nose and shove you all the way back to the backfield, then you got to give help there, and you got to disrupt his momentum to start the play. So. It's a bad situation. It's a bad situation. I've been waiting for the disaster game from the offensive line. I've been waiting for it because it's just, yes, is it sustainable to get good left tackle play out of Andrew Thomas when he's healthy? I think it is, but it's the problem that now he's not healthy, and I feel like he has been the thing that's kept this unit afloat.
Fine, Schwartz. I wish Mitchell Schwartz would, like I said, just tweet out, "I retire," because he's clearly retired. But everyone, it's like, I swear, I honestly think he just likes the attention of people saying like, "Sign Mitchell Schwartz, sign Mitchell Schwartz," because he's on social media a ton. Like he has retired unless he gets some like Godfather offer, which the Giants clearly don't have.
Yeah, no,
and they're not a Super Bowl contender, which I think he said was important to him. Like he's clearly retired. Let's see. All right, let's get some questions.
Defense. Can we talk about defense?
Yeah. Any talking points you want to hit on?
Before we talk about the defense, there was a question that said, "Who do you hate more, the Eagles or the Cowboys?" I want to hear your perspective on this because I think you know mine. But what is yours?
I think I swear I'm not trying to be politically correct, but I kind of think I hate them equally.
Okay, that's fair.
You
like Eagles fans, though.
I think they're fun. I think the Eagles fans are hilarious.
Which means that you like
them.
Anything you think is hilarious, you think you like.
What about you? What is your answer?
Oh, I think you should know my answer. Snacks and I have talked about this extensively on Bleeding Blue. It's Cowboys. I can't stand them. I cannot. I think they're the team that I hate most in all of sports. I know we had the 2010 game against the Eagles and Deshaun Jackson, blah, blah, blah. I was there for that. My parents have, so this is what I always say. My parents have gotten divorced and my house is burnt down, but I still consider that day, the Miracle in the Meadowlands 2, to be the worst day of my life. I've never questioned the meaning of life more walking out of MetLife Stadium that day. But it makes it okay, the fact that we won the Super Bowl next year, and the fact, like, if you were to start a movie about, which that's what America's Game is, it's a movie about Super Bowl winning teams. If you were to start a movie about the 2011 Giants, it starts the Miracle in the Meadowlands 2. Like, that's when it starts, and then it ends with us hoisting up the Lombardi Trophy, so they can suck our what. Dallas, just over the years, just so many heartbreaking losses. Romo was really, really good, and I have even more of a bigger respect for Tony Romo now that Daniel Jones is in Jason Garrett's system. Those teams were just so good over the year, and the Eagles had down years. Dallas has just been good every single year. Every single year, unless Romo was hurt.
When Romo got hurt, they would always fall apart.
Yeah.
I hate Washington the most, honestly.
Ugh.
I know that's not the popular one, but I hate Washington more than any of those other teams.
That's because I think you really started to. No, you were always a Giants fan, but you got way more into it when you started podcasting. And
I've always hated Washington more. I have a lot of friends and my brother.
Your brother's a Washington fan.
And I have a lot of friends, like a lot of really close friends who are Washington fans. So it's I think that's why I hate it more. It's like I've had friends who are Cowboys fans, but they're not like diehards, or friends that are Eagles fans and they're not diehards. But I have friends who are Washington fans and they're diehards, and it makes me hate Washington so much. Like I have a friend. We bet $10 on each Washington Giants game every single year. We've done it for like the last 15 years.
I love it. You've won a lot of money. Lorenzo Productions had a really good comment. Talking Giants bingo. Justin mentioning his house fire and Bobby mentioning his dead dog.
We do need to start doing someone needs to make a Talking Giants bingo card.
Bingo.
Victor Perez. Who is the biggest X factor? Zoe on front side run D or Aziz on backside cutback run D?
It's a film question.
That's a tough question. I'm gonna say Zoe, because like, close down that gap. Don't let them widen that gap, because that gives Zeke another lane to run through, a Pollard another lane to run through. So I'm gonna definitely say Zoe. Like, don't let Tyron Smith, set that edge. Like, you set it, you close it down. So that's what I'll say.
Cool.
This could be a huge EE game if he can hold on to the damn ball. Would love to see getting Barkley 1v1 with Mark. I would like to see Barkley one-on-one with Parsons. But Ingram has like not even really been involved in the offense.
No, everything's just been
45 yards in 2 games.
Yeah, everything's just like up in the middle of the field. They haven't been using him vertically like they did towards the second half of last year. I think they're phasing him out. I really think they're phasing him out. They had to use that. Like, they were forced to use Evan Ingram last year. They don't have to use him this year because they have Galladay, Tony. And I really do think, unless it's just like, a prototypical Caden Smith type of tight end, like, Jones just doesn't use his tight ends, besides if they're just in the middle of the field. Really doesn't.
He uses tight ends a good amount at Duke. They use him, like, the tight ends get used on like the stick concepts. Like, let's see, what he played 68% of the snaps last week, 56% versus week 3. So he's playing close to 70% of the snaps, which is kind of like where we saw, like, when we were talking about like how do they use Kyle Rudolph and Evan Ingram, we kind of said like both around like that 65 to 70% snaps. Let's see.
I think you wanted Ingram down more. You wanted Rudolph to get more than Ingram, and I was like, "There's no way that's going to happen."
Well, I said they're both going to be around 65 the way they use Rudolph and Irv Smith, and Rudolph played 59%, so and Ingram played 68%.
I was right.
I wish they. What does Caden Smith have to do for this team to like? All right, maybe we'll just roll with you. Play David Moe instead of Danny Shelton. Wouldn't even be against that, honestly. And congrats to David Moe on his new baby.
Oh,
him and his wife had a kid yesterday.
Congrats on the sex.
Yeah,
Danny Shelton's been bad, really bad.
None of that matters if we can't get a damn pass rush going. Never seen a defense get 0 pressures on QBs before.
Yeah, they're like the worst in the National Football League right now. Yeah.
Should G-Man use Harris over Zimenez? Yes, but Harris is still in the practice squad. He wasn't activated. I would use anyone over Zimenez. Like, he has been a complete zero. Like, he's done nothing. There has not really been a play this year where it's like, all right, good rep there, O'Shane. Like, not like, oh, you actually did a good job setting the edge. Like, he hasn't done anything.
Carter Coughlin, Quincy Roche, somebody.
Let's see.
We're gonna look back on some of those takes that we said about Carter Coughlin on the preseason, and unless they start to use him more, it's gonna look bad. Don't listen back to our Carter Coughlin takes about how excited we were.
I mean, I still agree with them. Use him like 10 snaps a game and put him in the A gap and like let him play a little inside linebacker.
We were comparing him to Van Noy. That's the issue. It's like, oh, this guy can be the next Van Noy. He still can be, still young, but yeah.
Yeah, he hasn't even gotten the opportunity this year. They've basically only used him on third down, put him in the A gap, rush the passer. Which is hard to be like, all right, go get production. Like,
I like how we're the podcast that everybody wants us to go out there and play the offensive line. I love how that's like us.
Big guys.
That's what we represent. I'm not as big as people think. Now I'm only 6 foot. I'm not like 6'2", 6'3".
Well, and we like have the O-line report, and people, I think it's clear like the offensive linemen on the team for the most part like us too.
Yeah.
Besides like Nate Solder, Billy Price might not like us, but those guys are new. Like I'm not getting emotionally invested into Billy Price. And
Nate Solder's out of here, so
yeah. Like I'm emotionally invested in Andrew Thomas, Shane Lemieux, Nick Gates, even Matt Parrott. Billy Price, like he's on an expiring deal. Ben Bredesen, we haven't got to know him enough. I feel like we could get to that point with him. And then Nate Solder, it's like I think Nate Solder probably hates me. Oh wow! Someone just in my fantasy group chat says, because I'm a gentleman, at Bobby Skinner, take out Dalvin Cook. So Dalvin Cook is not playing.
Oh, great.
So
glad I know now. 2 weeks ago, I had him on my. It's so tough. Because when we play at 1:00, I'm in cram mode, and the last thing on my brain is checking my fantasy lineups. And I
know I've been trying to make a better effort of doing that. So I am starting Kadarius Toney and Dalton Schultz in my flex this week.
Boom.
So the guys I have on the bench are Tim Patrick, Javonte Williams, Curtis Samuel, and Khalil Herbert, who David Montgomery got hurt for the Bears. I read an article that predicted Saquon has 75 yards reception and a reception touchdown, going as far as 150 yards from scrimmage based on Dallas defense. Realistic? It's definitely realistic that he has that. I don't think it's like that's what I'm expecting out of Saquon Barkley today. I mean, Saquon only has like 180 rushing yards on the year.
Yeah.
Daniel
Jones is averaging more rushing yards per game than Saquon Barkley.
You know how much
yard difference
hate we got for saying our over under on Saquon Barkley for this year, and we're like, well, you got to kind of like he's missed games every year besides his rookie season, so you got to kind of keep that in mind. Like and it's like even if he didn't get hurt, like if he played the rest of the game on pace, he would miss that mark by like 300 yards. And we got like all kinds of hate for being like, I think he might get 1,000 yards, but he might just barely get it. So we'll see how they use him in the receiving game. Let's see. We haven't had any broken legs lately. We haven't. Usually last year they all happened to the other team. That truly is the only hope for the Giants to win the division is Dak Prescott gets his ankle broken again or gets injured.
Not in this game, because then whoever the backup is going to throw all over us like they did last year. So not this game. But you're right. That is kind of like the only hope.
How was your weekend?
It was good. St. Peter's Prep has lost 2 weekends in a row. It will start a trend of if St. Peter's Prep loses, then the Giants will win. So then I will be really conflicted because that will start to be a trend. It'll be a 2-week trend if that happens. Friday, I went down to Red Bank. I saw Jeff. Did you see that? I went to
I saw that on his Instagram stories.
I went to the Red Rock in Red Bank with some friends, and lo and behold, we're in the middle of our meal, or I'm waiting for my lamb burger to come. lo and behold, Jeff just walks in with his wife. I'm like, no way. So that was great. I saw Jeff. I saw a blue shirt and white shirt and gray sweatshirt. Yeah, good weekend. I hate that we're playing at 4:00. I gotta wait. Like, I feel like I want to play right after this. So I'm gonna do some things. I gotta run and do some
enjoy the
things.
1:00 games more though. Like,
yeah,
you can sit back and watch football. Like when the Giants play at 1:00, it's like you can. It's like you just don't get. You're just not focusing on the other games. Like you're just not. So at least like you get those 1:00. But I do kind of feel you on that. We'll
you
probably
went to the beach.
Yeah, definitely a beach weekend. And here's what sucks is I didn't get enough time to be. I thought it was supposed to rain all day yesterday, so I kind of had in my head like no beach today. And then it's like 1:30, and I look at the weather. I'm like, oh, it's not supposed to rain all day. So all right, let me literally made a 2-minute split decision and got in my truck and left. Oh, here's where I got so pissed off. I freaking bought this car, was supposed to register on Friday, was super excited about having this new car, and I go to get the title transferred, and it's signed by power of attorney, and it has 2 names on the title, and one of the people had died, and then the other guy's in a nursing home, so that's who I had bought the car from. But it only had power of attorney. It didn't have any other document that went with power of attorney, and it's blank where the lady died, and I don't have so now tomorrow or Tuesday, which are like my busiest days of the week, I have to go and try and figure that out and get my car registered, which is just, I mean, I get, my anger can kind of hit quick, and I just I wanted to just lose it at that counter, like I didn't lose it, but the lady could see me. I'm gritting my teeth, like squeezing my keys. Like I was so freaking pissed off. So I'm still driving my work truck around.
You're not a man to get angry. People must feel uncomfortable when you get angry around them.
I mean, I think everyone's uncomfortable when people get angry. I don't know. I don't know. I've never
I think
been.
Some people laugh. I think some people laugh when I get angry.
I've never been on the outside of my body to.
I'm sure. True.
I'm sure people do. But yeah, I was pissed off.
We won another Bobby reaction video to the Giants winning today.
I feel like
your reaction sounded just like my sneeze on the 5 Keys to Victory video last week.
Oh, yeah. And here's the thing is, like, I legit get that excited, but then I watch that back like 2 days later. I'm like, this is weird.
People love that, though. People love it. You don't think people are acting more insane in their own living rooms?
I know. It's just, like, if I were watching that and I didn't realize, like, that looks like a fake reaction.
It's not.
But it's not. I know, but it looks like a fake reaction, and I don't like that. I don't want to. I was just so freaking excited. Like, it's hadn't had that. Anyways. All right. 33 minutes. We can head out.
Yeah.
Win. Please, for the love of God. Win.
That would be great.
If we win today, we're cocky again. I don't care if we're 2-3. We're cocky. We are cocky. We just beat 2 good teams in the Saints and the Cowboys. We are 1 game back in the division. And we're cocky. And now we're 2 plays away from being this becomes more realistic, where it's like, you know what? Like maybe we win those games going forward throughout the season. Now I know this maybe the toughest game of our schedule is next week versus the Rams. But you know what? Maybe we win that freaking game too, and we're 3-3, and we're like, this team is real deal. Why not us? So I'm just getting excited thinking about it. We appreciate you guys. We'll see you after the game. We'll be live. Patreon.com/TalkingGiants, $2 a month. What time do you think we'll go? So the game will probably end around 7:30, 7:45, 9:15. Sound good?
If it's a win, it may be later. If it's a loss, then 9:15. Yeah.
We'll see.
We'll see. Because I'm trying to capitalize on doing those breakdowns if good things happen, and they take a little while to do. But odds are I would do it after the podcast. I'm gonna text somebody else right now to see if they can edit it if we do win. So we'll just keep an eye. If you subscribe right now to patreon.com/talkinggiants, then you will get emails of updates as to when we go live and when we do things. So You don't have to wait. Just do it right now. Do it.
Sounds good. All right. See you guys after the game. Let's go Big Blue.